Hi guys, welcome to the first session of Conversations Over Coffee, where myself and Shills will be discussing a bit deeper particular podcast episodes and looking at actually the real life psychosocial issues that may be associated with the topics and giving you guys some tips on how you can manage and overcome if these are situations that you found yourself in. So if this is something that you would enjoy, please subscribe the notification so that you never miss an upload. In today's video, we're interviewing my male BFF, Pat, who is personally basically experienced relationship breakdown with children involved. So we wanted to hear from him about how it all went down and how, you know, his views and experiences on the situation. So Pat, say hi, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Daniel Paterson. I'm 2 boys, and if you include my stepson, make it 3 boys. I have been a father for nearly 18 years. Yes, I know.
Good ass man.
No. Good head, man, all that kind of stuff. We had this conversation. So, dad of 3, like I said, nearly 18 years in the game. Had the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, yeah, I'm here to kind of give some of my experiences, and hopefully my story will resonate with some people out there, and they can hopefully find some strategies around how to deal with their broken relationships, or the most effective way to deal with their relationships, the way that I've kind of managed to do it at this age. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I think first off, I just wanted to find out, tell us a bit about your situation, your experience of relationship breakdown with children involved.
Right, so we'll start off with the eldest one. Like I said, he's going to be 18 this year, end of the year. With his mother, we broke up near enough straight away from when he was born. For many, many years, for about 7 years, it was constant back and forth. I ended up taking her to court to get access to my child because she used him as a weapon towards me. If I couldn't be with her and didn't give her money, then I couldn't see my son. A story that I've heard quite a lot as a parent myself in the years that have gone by. So I took her to court. I won my case. I managed to get, I'll be a bit personal here, I managed to get every weekend, half the holidays, alternating birthdays, alternating Christmas days. So literally everything that I wanted, I won. Yeah, I wasn't playing no games with her. And then she did actually, and I'll give her dues there. By the time we'd got to court, I think she kind of knew she weren't going to win this battle. So she was like, no, it's fine. I'll accept to it all. And we were good. We were okay for a while. Then he got a bit older, and let's move on to 2.5 years ago. Things got a bit spiteful again because Damari started having some consistency with me, which he never ever had in his whole life. And one thing that I always noticed, that every time we got close, she'd pull him away, and it would become about money again, or it'd be something that I've done that she's not happy with, when all I ever wanted was time. Time was like the most valuable thing for me and my kids. So if I could offer you that time and take them, then don't really be stressing me about money, because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't always been in the best position financially. I've made some mistakes in my 20s, and I've had to get myself out of debt. But that is, again, another common theme that I've seen with a lot of people, especially in their 20s as well, because we're still learning, we're still growing.
Still young,
and I never had, we are still young. And if you haven't got a role model, or for me being a man, have a man to raise me to be a man, I've got to make these mistakes by myself. So I was always adamant that I wouldn't let my kids go through the same thing. One, growing up without a father, that's something that I never ever wanted for any of them. So I made sure that I'm a very apparent father. I'm there, I'm visual, I'm vocal, so they hear me, they see me. And the last 2.5 years he's actually moved in with me full time, and I've been his primary carer since he was 15, now going on to 18. So he's a success story with mine and his relationship, but me and his mum, we still don't have a good relationship. Difficult. There's still a lot of tension there, not through me, because I can have a conversation with her and just be quite calm. With her, she still has this something, and I'm not going to speak for her, but she definitely has something towards me where she's not able to let things go, and probably has a little bit of resentment that our eldest boy, well, her only child and my eldest boy, has come to live with me for the last couple of years. And I haven't batted an eyelid. I haven't called her for no money. I haven't asked her for anything in the last 2.5 years. I've just got on with it. Anything that he needs, I've just dealt with it. He's schooling stuff. My son managed, I was hard on him with his schooling, and I'm going to put this out there because I'm very proud of his achievements, but because of how hard I was, before he came to my house, we'll get there. We'll get there.
He's in fancy school, so you've done right.
Let me build it up a little bit. So when he was before he came to me, the year before he came to me, I went to a parents' evening, and his teacher told me he was the second worst behaved in his class in maths. This is my strong subject as well. So I was I'm looking at him. I look at him. He looks at the floor. It was one of them ones. You know, you messed up.
You have to give him the look. Yeah.
He knew. I was just looking at him. The dad's there, and he didn't look in my face. He looked at the floor, and I was like, okay, no, you do that. Okay, you watch when we get out of here. We're gonna have some words. So we had some words. He's ended up coming to live with me for year 10 and 11. And I did pushed him quite hard. I made sure studying was a big thing. Every day he'd study for like 2 hours after school. And the reward for that was he walked out with 5 A stars. I think he got 3 A's, 2 B's and a C. So, and he got an A star in all 3 sciences and maths. The lesson that he was.
And he's in that fancy school.
And he goes to a grammar school. He does. So the expectation was very high. So that was one of my proud moments, to actually have my child with me. And me, I was nagging. I'm going to nag because I'm very big on education. I've worked in schools for the best part of nearly 20 years. So, well, let's say 15 years is closer. So yeah, about 15 years I've been in and out of schools. I've been working with young people for the best part of nearly 20 years. So I have an understanding of boys different to some men out there, because I've just always been around them. I've always tried to be a role model. So I want to be, first and foremost, a role model to my kids. They come first before all the clients I have. They come first. So the fact that I went back to college and did my maths with him at the same time, I ended up walking out for A. He got an A star. His first thing to me, Dad, I beat you, haha. And I said, you're supposed to beat me. That's what I wanted. I don't want to be doing better than you after I've been to school for 18 years. So, you know, but I like the fact that he had that confidence now to say, you know what, I've done well. He's proud of himself, and competing with me was the thing that got him there, I suppose, to get that A star, which by all means do that, be better than what I was.
That's great news. Yeah.
So that was a difficult relationship, very difficult.
Yeah. I think I want to take it a bit back though, because obviously, you know, our talk today is about the impact of the breakdown of the relationship or situationship, because I think I know kind of the history as well. So in terms of what do you feel that the impact has been on, you know, your son, with all like the drama with mum going back and forth, and, you know, has there been any impact? Has there been any emotions that you feel that, you know, that he's experienced because of that situation?
I'll be honest, I feel like he has had the worst, what's the easiest way to say this? Not the worst. The worst experience in terms of he's got 2 parents that love him, but he never knew that. So for him, he wasn't sure really where he stood. He was kind of caught in limbo, because every time he would get a relationship with me, then his mum would be badmouthing me. And I know she was badmouthing me because he's told me this, and kind of trying to change his mind on how I am as a person instead of letting him find out for himself. Because one thing when
he was used as a weapon.
Oh, 100%.
And that impacted on your relationship with him, or his views of how you viewed him?
Both, exactly that. So how he viewed me was that I was this horrible guy that done his mum. He wouldn't even want to come to my house on weekends because of what his mum would tell him. But when he started seeing it for himself, and we started building and having similar interests, so like we like anime and stuff, so we watch anime together. We liked playing like a card game called Yu-Gi-Oh! That was our little get away and just do dad and son things. Like, we're very different in our interests, but we shared the same interests. So
because your family, no matter what's being said, no matter what's being portrayed, like, that's your blood, and nobody can take that away from you. Yeah,
exactly. So I think the more he started to see that we were more alike than different, he started to take to me more, and then that's why eventually he did move with me, and it's been fun. I've been able to push him to the heights that he's got to, because he now trusts me. Before, he didn't trust me. Mum made sure that there weren't no trust there, because she would always say, oh, your dad does this, he doesn't do this, and blah blah, you know, just tarnish my name a little bit. Just by all I ever wanted was time with my kids, for them, just for me to be there. And I think a lot of women, they think that money is everything, or their relationship with the other parent is everything, when actually you can remove yourself from that and let your child let your child and the other parent have their own relationship. You don't have to be involved, which is where I have the other relationship, which is very different, and I've had that experience. So we'll get onto that in a little while. So
I was going to say, so why do you think it's important to consider like children when relationships break down?
Because they are us, so they're the future. So you have to understand as well, how we raise them is going to impact them for the rest of their lives. So if they're grown up in a household with just fighting with each other, it could be verbally or physical, but if they're exposed to that constantly, then it's a cycle. They're more privy to be involved in relationships like that as they go, because all they know. If all you know is a negative relationship, you will be in one and think it's the norm. And I don't want my kids to ever be in a relationship where they feel like it's normal for me to be treated like this. It's not normal. It's not normal. So, and that's, as a man, it's important for me to teach my sons this, because they are going to be men one day. Like I said, my eldest is going to be 18. He's an adult technically at the end of the year. He's a man. You know me since he was a baby. So you understand, you've seen from the transition from him being a baby all the way to now. He's got to go into that big bad world. And I want him to have all the tools that he needs to be able to survive. So he doesn't need to depend on anybody. He needs to be self-sufficient, but he needs to want to have certain things. So the relationships I have now, I want those relationships. I don't need nothing. I'm very self-sufficient. I learned how to cook, clean, raise my kids. I could do it all by myself if I wanted to, because I don't need anyone. But I want to do that with somebody. Hence where I'm at now in my life. So, and they need to know that as well. It's very important. Doesn't matter how, you don't have to be with the person for the rest of your life for you to have a good relationship with the other parent and to raise your kids in a different life. And like I said, you know, my other son, my youngest, and you've seen the dynamics in that relationship and how he found out just to have two parents that love him and never expose him to any sort of malice, hate, anger.
And that's co-parenting at its best. I think for me, that's been one of the examples that I've kind of grown up around, seeing how you and the mother of your second child, how you've just done it together. You've sat down, you have discussions, everything's just open, you know. So what's some of the things that you've learned? Why do you think that relationship has been so different from the first experience? So raising your second child has been so different from the experience of raising your first child.
I think it stemmed from originally her being around and seeing everything I was going through with my first child. So when she fell pregnant with my youngest, it was like she already had in her head she would never put me through what I've been put through. So, and I commend her for that. Like I'd say my youngest son's mum is, like yourself, one of my best friends. So I can literally talk to her about anything. And it wasn't easy. Like the first 2 years of our breakup, it was very hard, but she never once let that come between me and my child. I was so active in his life. It was unreal. Everyone thought I was the mum. I used to get jokes to say, you're the mother, because I'm taking him to nursery, I'm picking him up, I'm having him in the mornings while she goes to work, because my job was a bit later. So I made sure.
So why do you think that's worked well? What do you think? Yeah.
Because I've had to. And you know what? No, not even me, her. She just allowed me to do it. I've always wanted to be a dad. Like, I've always wanted to be there for my kids. So
you think it's about a parent, the other parent allowing the parent who's no longer living with the child to be the dad that they want to be.
But in the same light, the guy has to live up to that expectation. If you're no point saying, I want to do this and I want to do that, and then you're not actually doing it. It just sounds good for the gram and all that kind of stuff. Because remember, my youngest is around social media times where it's good to post up your kids and say, oh, look, I'm a great dad. I'm doing this. I've never really been one for that. I just do it. Like, I have my kids. You know how I am anyway. I have my kids all the time. We've taken our kids swimming and all that kind of stuff. We do those kind of things. We arrange to meet up, birthdays, all that kind of stuff. So her allowing me, but me actually having to live up to that title and showing her, you know what, no matter what happens between me and you, that child comes first. And that's another thing. The child has to always come first. So with my youngest, he's always come first. And if you see this boy, his demeanor, his manners, his respect levels, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. And he's my pride and joy in the sense that I've been able to raise him from baby to nearly 11 years old. I've had an active part
in a majority co-parenting situation as well. You know, separated from young.
He was not even 1 year old when we separated. So literally within the first year, we were engaged, we were separated, and that was it. So that's why it was even more difficult, because we'd had all those emotions going on as well. She could have been bitter. She could have been very spiteful in how some women are these days, because they hold on to their feelings, emotions. But she wasn't. She kind of said, you know what, we're not going to work when it's never going to work. I accepted it. She accepted it. But what will work is if we work together with our child. And because of that, I say we're not doing too bad. We're on the right path.
Amazing.
Young man. So he literally at school, he's a top student in school. He's athletic, so he's excelling in that as well. All the coaches love him. All his teachers love him. So, you know, and that's only because of all the love that he's had and the expectations as well. He can't go to his mum's and do one thing and then come to mine and do another. Nah, if he messes up at home, his
boundaries here and there, and they're similar.
We share the same boundaries. We talk and we say, right, this is what we're setting up. There was a prime example, Minecraft. all these kids love that game, Minecraft. I'm a gamer, so I wasn't really too fussed about him playing it. But mum was like, "No, he spends too much time on it. I want him to come off it now or limit the time." So it's all right, fine, done. And I told him, at my house, it's the same rules.
Yeah.
And you know how he turned around and said,
Well,
"Okay, Dad. Okay, Mum."
that's it. Yeah.
That's
There's
it.
no
No back
argument.
chat, no why,
Yeah.
no, oh, it's not fair. I see a lot of spoiled kids out there. Oh, it's not fair. Like they're entitled. Listen, you're not entitled. Your kids, your children. You better know you're the child. We're the adults. And there's a reason why we do what we do. We don't do it out of malice. We do it out of love. So we know better because we're older than you, and we've actually had some experiences. You know, we can testify to say this would be more effective for you. So, and Caden gets that. He trusts us. So
definitely. So that's a massive like positive. Like I said, how I've seen that situation work out and the benefits it's had on your child. If I can just take it back to your oldest child, I just want to ask if there was anything that you could change about how that situation arose or kind of played itself out. Is there anything you could change in the way that went?
I had a joke.
Looking at you. Come on, dig deep now.
Oh, I had such a good joke. I'll resist. Right. For me, do you know what? I feel like I went about things right. I guess I was a bit loud in my 20s and my late teens, which probably didn't help the situation. So
when we mean loud, what do we mean by loud? Are we talking about like maturity or like?
Okay. You wanna go there? Okay.
No, I'm asking. It's a question.
No, no. I think personally, I wasn't mature enough to. No, I don't want to lie. I can't lie. Do you know what?
Lie.
No, do you know what? I did everything as a young parent. I tried to do everything I could because my expectations were very high anyway. Again, I was raised up until 7 years. I had my dad around, then he went. And then I never knew I had daddy issues until I went to uni. It took me a long time to kind of establish those issues, why I was angry at certain times, why I treated women. When I'm saying loud, with women, like I was out there with the women, but I wasn't very nice towards women. So I was very, I didn't respect them the way that I do now. You know, I had to go and find myself before I could start doing that kind of stuff. But again, I never had a man in my life to say, you know, this is how you treat a woman. This is how you're supposed to look after them. This is how you're meant to work together. There's meant to be a balance. I just knew that man does this and that's it. I used to look at my elders and say, oh, look, the man them are doing that. Let me go and follow suit and do what they're doing. And I suppose that kind of stayed with me for a very, very long time. But it never really impacted my relationship with my children. So I can't say that would have changed much. I guess what would have changed is if I stayed with her and then he would have had a different upbringing, but then it would have been toxic because why would you can't stay in something that you're not fully in. And at 17, I definitely wasn't fully in. I was too young myself. Yeah, but even then, I wouldn't say having a child at 17 was the wrong move because actually it made me mature in certain aspects. Not every aspect, but definitely in certain where I knew straight away I didn't want to be like my father. So I wanted to make sure I was the opposite to him. Yeah, and I've done that. That's how I kind of present. As present as I could be. So not gonna lie, there was 1 year that I went ghost for a whole year because she kept doing this, pulling him away from me. So I said, okay, then let's play your game. Let's do it your way. And then she called me and then said, I need help. And then as soon as she said she needs help, I was back. So, but I feel like she had to go through that process to actually appreciate the effort I was trying to put in. But it was like banging my head against a brick wall sometimes. And I'm quite blasé, you know me. Once I get over a certain threshold, that's it. I've lost all interest. I'll wait. I can just wait it out and I know what's going to happen. I'm quite good at predicting what's going to happen. So I knew she'd always need me again to help her raise our child. Because another thing that women don't understand is that to raise a boy is very difficult as a woman. Two different things. Like you will need some sort of man, might not always be the father, but it's always good to have a man there. It'd be an uncle, a brother, just somebody there to help you because there's certain things you're not going to understand. There's only certain things that only men understand when it comes to boys. So.
But you know what? I hear that and I totally agree. 110%, I totally agree. But I've also been thinking, obviously, you know, I've got Livs, I've got my 10-year-old girl. And, you know, as much as we point out, you know, boys need their dads, I think girls also need their dads. Girls need their dads to see
both parents.
They need both parents.
They need both parents. It goes without saying. When I was talking specifically about the boys, is because you see a lot of families that have relationships out there, and I know a lot of women that say, "Well, I've raised my child and blah blah."
I'm their mum and dad.
I'm their mum and dad. I hate that. Sorry. My mum said to me, "Mum, you're not my dad." I had to stick it on my own mother, and she now understands. She doesn't say it no more. Like Father's Day come around, she expects a present on Father's Day as well. What kind of foolishness? You think you're getting too? Get out of here.
Get out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Get out of here, mum. Yeah, so, but my mum now understands that actually she could only be mum, because had she been mum and dad, she might have had different boys. Because if we had a father around, I maybe not have had Damari at 17, and then other things that I've gone on through my life, I may not have gone through. It would have been
nobody can replace that father, that father figure.
It's a relatable thing, boys relate to their dad because we're the same. We've got the same bits and pieces, and there's like
bits little things,
bits and bobs. Like even that conversation about sex. I was talking to my stepson about sex last week, and his mum was like cringing. She's like, "I can't believe you're having this conversation," but he was fine, and he was comfortable talking to me about it, but he won't talk to his mum about it. So, and he's 11 going on 12, but it's important for him to know he's in secondary school. We know what these kids are up to. They're getting younger. So I'm saying, no, listen, you better make sure you behave yourself, and this is what will happen. You don't want all that kind of stuff. And he was really intrigued and asking really good questions. And I've had 5 years experience teaching this in school. So for me,
you know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that department. And yeah, it was good. It was a really good conversation. So you need to be able to have conversations with your kids as well and be honest with them, because they can see through you. They know when you're lying.
I always say this. I think one of my things that I'm learning, that I keep on saying, even in my relationships and circles, is that we forget that children will become adults. So all these things that we're doing, they see it, they remember it, they're going to store it. And as an adult, they will hold you accountable. Well, I would want my children to hold me accountable for the decisions that I made whilst I was raising them. And that obviously for me and Liv's, with her dad, I would want her to, I need to be sure in myself that any decision I make, that I can say it with my chest when she's older. Like, Mum, why did you do that? Why did you say that? Why did you do X, Y, and Z? I can say, well, actually, these were my reasons why. And at the time, this is what made sense to me.
Yeah, you got to own it. You definitely have to own it.
So. Yeah, own it, basically. You have to own it. So I think I don't want to take up too much of your time. So we're just going to round up. I just want to ask, what has been one of the most positive personal experiences from this co-parenting situations that you're in?
The most positive is the outcome. So my child. So you look at my youngest child, he is a true reflection of what 2 people that, don't get me wrong, we still love each other. I'll always love her. She's the mother of my child. I'm not in love with her. See, people got a misconception as well about between love and in love. You can love the other parent, and it's actually better to love them because you were raised a child in love. So, and I know she loves me back, and there's no one can take that away from us. It's not going anywhere. But he is the product of that love, and that is what I get out of it. Like seeing him every day, or nearly every day, because we co-parents, I can't have him every day. she'll get mad at me. But the days that I have, we have set days. We've always had set days since he was a baby, and it's never really changed. And if I need to have him more days, I'm the first person she asks. And yeah, getting to see how he's doing at school, how he's around other people. And when people tell me about my child, like when they say to him, he's so well mannered, he's
amazing,
so well behaved. Go do it. Tell me about my son.
I know, he's amazing.
No, that younger one is he gives me such joy and lets me know everything that I was trying to do, I've been able to do it with him. And I haven't got a bad word to say about his mum. Yeah, she gets on my nerves sometimes. I get on her nerves, but we are adults. We're humans. You're not supposed to be happy all the time and happy with each other's decisions. You're going to have some clashes, but we don't hold on to stuff either. We make a point of, if we have an issue, we just talk about it. Or if we need like a day space or whatever, if I can hear she's got a bit of attitude with me on the phone, I just come off the phone and like, all right, cool. Oh, God.
So in terms of looking at the impact of children, there's a couple of things. Pat's already mentioned about the importance of setting examples so that we're not raising children in situations that they tend to normalize, which they will then go on to repeat as they get older. So in terms of those toxic relationships, those abusive situations, the normalization of arguments, and even, to be fair, the normalization of separated and co-parenting. I think it's really important that although the situations happened, and both myself and Pat are very, very thankful for all the children that we've had in our situations. I think it's just important to let children know that ideally, you had said, Pat, yourself, that if maybe your dad had been around, that actually maybe you may not have got in those certain situations. And the reality, obviously everybody knows my situation in terms of I wasn't raised with a consistent father figure, and then obviously we know how that turned out. But you know, it's you know, it's important about what we want to show our children and what we want to normalize for them. I think one of the things I think about as well is often about the self-esteem. So one of the things I'm thinking about now with my daughter in this situation is how she is seeing how I navigate the relationship with her dad, and about actually how I'm promoting that relationship while also trying to protect and nurture her own self-esteem and her expectations. Because I think one of the things, Pat, you said as well, it's all well and good for us wanting to co-parent, but it has to be on a consistent basis. I think we talked about it in the podcast as well, about obviously if there's abuse in terms of between the parents, you know, that's never going to be a safe environment. We're not, you know, I'm not going to advocate for any parent to, you know, actively try and pursue or force an abusive partner to be involved, because it's not going to be safe for yourself, and it's not going to be safe or healthy for the child to be in that environment. So there are definitely exceptions to the rule. You know, we do want to promote a healthy and well-rounded child, but we have to do that in a safe and nurturing environment. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And with the co-parent thing, it has to be both parents. It can't be one parent went to co-parent and the other parent going with the flow. It's a conscious decision for both people to make together and come to terms with, actually, you know, we may not always see eye to eye, but our child's mental well-being and their health is vital. It's number one priority. And if you can get that right, you end up raising a child like my youngest, if I'm honest. So, you know,
that's the focus.
He's got no dramas, he's got no stress. His stress comes from when me or his mum are upset. He feels we're so connected that he feels the energy of us. That is his energy. So if we're going through stuff, he knows it. I was going through something a couple of months ago. He phoned me from his mum to ask if I'm okay, because he could feel that there was something not right there. And that's because of the connection that we built through all this time. So people don't understand how valuable and how important energy is with your kids, because they feel everything. They're like sponges.
That's it. Exactly.
They take in every emotion, everything they see visually. They hear it all. They take everything in. They're like computers.
You're right. You're very much right. So I don't know, Pat, is there anything else that you'd like, anything that you want to share, round off on, anything that you feel that, you know, our listeners should maybe take away from this?
I would just say, like, just from my own personal experiences, I've had, like I said at the beginning, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's not always going to be easy. Like, to co-parent effectively, I was a clap, not a hand up. My bad, Chills. I just think it's going to take work, and you have to be prepared to put the work in. It's not going to come the next day. It's got to be gone.
Yeah. Sorry, egos. When you say put that work in, you have to put your egos, they just have to be dropped, like ditch it. Like, it's just like a marriage. Like, you have to like kind of forget yourself for a minute and just focus on the child.
Well, we got to remember, this child came from us, the two parents. We created this being. So, you know, he's a product of their parents. Children are products of their parents, like I said earlier. So if we can't show them love, and if we can't put aside our differences for them, then we're not really doing what we're supposed to be doing. We have obligations as parents to love our children, raise them, feed them, clothe them, all these kind of things. I hate being called a good dad. I'm not a good dad. I just do what every parent is expected to do. Yeah, and you call me, and I hate when you call me a good dad.
Me and the other best friends, we always argue because you hate it, but it's because, Pat, sadly, you are a bit of a minority. And that's really, really sad.
That's fine. But let's not put me on a pedestal. Let's normalize what I'm doing. Let's make it the expectation for all fathers to do that. So don't call me a good dad. Just call me an active dad, if anything, because there are people that are not active, and that is probably a better way to describe them. But actively, I'm there. And when it comes to me, get out of it. But when it comes to being around. So like, again, it's not always based on financial. A lot of people get it twisted.
No.
Oh, but I buy my child this and I buy my child that, and I pay for this. Listen, I don't want to hear all that.
Nothing.
What do you do with them? What do you do with them? I pay for stuff for my kids. My kid, one of them go to a grammar school. The other one, he plays football and goes to a really good school as well. I pay for all their school stuff. I don't care about that stuff.
Not the finances.
That stuff is to help them along. No, it's to help them get to where they need to be. That's what I do. I do it for them. I don't do it for me. I don't want praise for what I buy them. But when it comes to the time I spend with them and the way that I raise them, so their manners, I get great pleasure out of people saying, your kids have got good manners. I get great pleasure saying, your kids are lovely boys. I get great pleasure saying, got some good looking kids. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I've got some good looking kids. So those are that was the joke bit, I had to throw some jokes in there. But no, there's things that are more important than, again, the material, the financial, and a lot of people do focus on that when it comes to relationships.
It's your presence more than your presence.
There you go. I love that. That's banging. All right, I might have to steal that one. Just to reiterate, on the co-parenting, it's not one of those things that everyone just falls into. It's taken years of work with me and my son's mum. We all spoke about doing like a blog or a vlog, as I say, a video one, to try and help couples out there, or not even couples, separated people, separated parents out there that may need some guidance, because we're not perfect, but we've done all right, kind of thing. We looked at it and we've got, again, our product is out there to see for everyone, to show for everyone, and everyone sees what we've done. And again, we just have no malice towards each other. We've kind of accepted where we're at in our lives, and she's accepted I've got my partner. I've accepted whatever move she makes. I support her. If ever she needs me, I'm still there. If she needs me for anything, I don't let nothing. We're not together. That doesn't bother me. She raises my child, so it's her mental well-being is okay. Then she's better equipped to look after my child when he's not with me, because I wouldn't dream of taking him off her. Are you mad? So, and she does the same for me. If I need some time, she does it for me. We look after each other. We have to. Despite having our partners or whatever we've got going on in our life, we still need to work together until that boy is not even 18, past 18, because he's always going to be our baby boy.
Yeah.
He is. He's the youngest. I'm there for my little one. Love him.
Well, thank you so much.
But the older one's a bit more difficult because of his mum. So what I will say is, though, it shows in both my kids, the relationships, just to end, like my eldest one has been mentally scarred, and you can see even how he is socially. He's not as social as my youngest one, and I'm very social. Anyone who knows me knows who I am.
I think it's not social. Can I use the word? I don't want to use the word stable, but maybe that foundation isn't as solid. He's a bit less secure. Can I say that?
Yeah, I would say that. But then it depends where he is, because when we're around my family now, you get a totally different child.
Yeah.
Like
your family's your family.
Shell. There you go. So he can be himself. But you wouldn't see him be as open. Like my youngest one, you can put him in any circle, any social circle, and he finds himself. He's comfortable. He's now getting a little bit cheek to him, a little smart mouth. No,
really?
No, smart mouth. No, not naughty cheek, but like them little smart remarks amongst his peers only. So you hear him going back and forth. He's a clever, so he's like me. He used intelligence to kind of outwit people. Yeah. But it's funny. Like, I'm listening to him now. I'm like, right, my son's growing up, kind of thing. But he never oversteps the mark. He doesn't go over boundaries. He doesn't try to make anyone. He doesn't belittle anyone. He doesn't make anyone feel less about himself. And he's very caring. But he is coming into banter town now. Like he knows what banter is, and he likes to crack jokes and all that kind of stuff. He even tries it with me, cracking some jokes. I'm like, right, you're not funny, but I'll laugh.
But you're funny. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. It's been really, really great to hear your experiences. I think it's all well and good me and Shills having our opinion and sharing, our experiences. But, as we rightly said, we're females, we're coming from a totally different perspective. So it's been amazing to hear on the other side, because I've learned some things, there's certain discussions I've had with Livy's dad, but, I'll be honest, not as in depth as this. So it's been really, really good to hear. And even myself having that time to reflect on, some of the interactions that I've had. So thank you very much. Found any value and you've enjoyed the content, please do share. Subscribe to our channel, notification bell, so you never miss an episode. My name is Michelle, and thank you so much for listening. Take care. Bye.